Good morning. Welcome to Time in His Word. Yesterday on the news, I heard that this woman, soccer player, I guess she's on the U.S. team or something like that. Anyway, she was playing her last game because she was going to retire. And 6 minutes into the game, she tore her Achilles tendon. And when they were interviewing her, she said, "This just proves that there is no God to allow this to happen to me." Some of the news commentators that I listened to later on in the day was trying to explain it off as saying, well, she was just hurt and pain and didn't really mean what she says. I kind of beg to differ. If you're bold enough to make that statement, I think you got all your marbles there. But then that also reminded me of that comedian, Kathy Gifford, I think her name is. She's a redhead, very vulgar. And I remember her accepting an award one time, and the first thing she said was, all those that come up here and said that Jesus Christ helped them get this, he didn't do that for me. She denied him as well. And if I remember right, the audience laughed and some gasped. But when I hear people say things like that, I think, oh, I feel so sorry for them, because they don't know what they're saying and the ramifications of what the statement they've just made. But yet, I'll still pray for them that somebody will explain to them the plan of salvation and they'll accept it. But you kind of wonder, as a Christian, when you look at Pharaoh and how many times he denied his people, Moses, to take the Israelites out of slavery. Each time he said they could go, and then he changed his mind. His heart got harder towards God. And I think after a while, when people continually tell God no and deny him, it reaches a point where he doesn't try anymore and you're on your own. And I'd hate to be in that position where I've denied Christ so many times that he doesn't try to reach me anymore. I don't know what that feeling's like. I wouldn't even want to try to imagine or even experience it. Because first off, I can't imagine denying the existence of God, but people do. This morning I want to read a passage out of 2 Timothy 11 through 13, and it says, "It is a trustworthy statement. For if we died with him, we will also live with him. If we endure, we will also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself." Pretty strong words there for what I've said so far this morning. Especially it says in 12, if we deny him, he denies us. So in other words, if we deny him when we pass on and we're standing before the seat of judgment, he's going to not deny knowing us to the Father, and we know what happens next. Then you're cast into the fiery pits of hell. So that's why I said I feel so sorry for those people when they make statements like that, or publicly deny that there is a God, or they say that people who believe, a former governor of Minnesota, I've heard him say this a time or two, that people who rely on religion just use it as a crutch to get through the day, that you have to be strong in your own self to get through the day. And while he didn't outwardly say he's denying the existence of a God, he basically is with that statement. So for myself, no, I do not. I do firmly believe there is a God, and I firmly believe that he's had a hand in molding me into the person that I am today and getting me to the point of where I'm at. Of course, I had to put in time to study and willingness to allow him to lead me and do the things he had in store for me. But at the same time, I could at any point just sit down and said, I'm not doing no more. I hadn't denied him, wasn't being obedient to what his will was, but I hadn't denied him. So we can control the destiny of our walk in Christ by our actions. In other words, the more we study, the more we seek Him, the more He's able to use us to do bigger and greater things than we ever imagined. Whereas if all you do is show up on Sunday morning and listen to what the preacher says, and then don't do anything else until next Sunday when you show back up at church again, that's about the extent of God's going to use you, because you're not putting in the work for Him to use you to do things with. And some people say, well, I don't know what my calling is. I found out over the years that's the best part, trying to figure it out, because you'll try different things, you'll go off and do different things, and you'll find that that's not what you were supposed to be, that's not what God's calling you to do. But rather than look at that as a defeat, I always looked at that as more building of my spiritual walk, more knowledge I gained, more experience I gained. I always looked at it as more of a positive than a negative. Yeah, I was kind of bummed. I thought that was the direction I was going, but at the same time, when I looked at it in that sense, it taught me something about myself and about serving God and that. So I never looked at a closed door as defeat. I always looked at it as more soul building, more character building, and making me stronger in my walk in Christ. But everybody looks at things differently, and that's what makes us so unique. But yeah, if you think about it today, when I heard her say that, I was like, oh, so terrible for her, so terrible. But there's nothing I can do. All I can do is pray for her, in which I will. But at the same time, I hate when I hear people say that, because remember in verse 12, if we endure, we will also reign with Him. If we deny Him, He will also deny us.